minutes after 11 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. You know, when anything happens in our community and the people start saying we need to make changes, we need to do something, and then a shooting like what happened in Orlando yesterday morning gets us all wondering, what should we do about this? The one thing I think we can do is to elect leaders who have background and strength and level-headed thinking and an understanding of the Constitution, at least in this country. I don't know how they do it in other countries, but in this country, we have to have that. I was just reading about our next guest. I definitely think he understands the Constitution. Ken Sukhia is on the phone. He is an attorney. He served as an assistant U.S. attorney and as the U.S. attorney for the Northern District of Florida. He's active in the Federalist Society. He serves on the board of directors of the National Center on Sexual Exploitation in Washington, D.C. He's a senior partner in one of Florida's largest law firms, and he is running for the office of congressman in the 2nd Congressional District of Florida, which does include Marion County, Levy County. Oh my gosh, so many counties. I had the list of it here. Leon. Oh wow, it goes all the way up to Leon County, really? Calhoun Bay, Columbia, Dixie, Franklin, Gilchrist. Gosh, it's a whole, wow. This is how they redrew this, huh?
Yeah.
Let's say hello and good morning to Ken Sukhia. Good morning, Ken.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for being on the air with us. We had a
thank you for having me.
Very short chat before we went on the air. You're in Tallahassee right now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, but that's some district they redrew for you, huh?
Yeah, it's some district. It's 19 counties. It runs from Panama City all the way down to west of Ocala, and it takes about 6 hours to make it from one side of the district to the other. But that matters much less to me than the size of our district, than the problems that are facing our country.
Right.
And if I might, Larry, just to give your listeners some sense of where I'm coming from, I all my life I have been fighting for conservative causes. As our U.S. attorney, I put foreign and domestic terrorists behind bars. I fought the narco terrorists invading our shores, even to the point that at one point an agency recorded the head of the Colombian coastal cartel saying that they were going to take out the U.S. attorney from the Northern District of Florida. So I have some sense. I don't say I have the absolute best sense, but I have some sense of what it is to fight terrorism. We had a fellow that was burning churches all up and down the southeastern United States, including the First Baptist Church there in Ocala that was burned to the ground.
Yes, absolutely.
And we had, we took him on. We were the only district to do that. Well, that person was involved in terrorism. He was a domestic terrorist, but we also dealt with the foreign terrorists, the Jamaican gangs that were responsible for multiple murders. Danny Rawling, who was murdering the students in Gainesville. So that was a big component of my history. But I also went on to fight Planned Parenthood in an intense 8-day trial in which I was defending the Parental Notice of Abortion Act in Florida. I was George W. Bush's U.S. federal trial counsel in the 2000 recount battle. I handled the military ballot case and another federal case for George W. I went to Washington to fight for Terri Schiavo, for instance. I know it's controversial, but I felt she deserved to stay. And, these are just some of the things that I've been doing. I was called in to fight Obamacare 6 years ago and assist the legal team that brought that case to the Supreme Court. So I looked at our country, and I see it moving in the wrong direction towards socialism, toward European-style socialism, and towards secularism. I'm a believer. I came to know the Lord when I was in college, and I just want to do my part to participate in the battle to save our American principles and way of life. And I'm sorry to kind of rattle on there, but I want your listeners to have some sense.
No, you're doing a good job.
Who I am.
I just want to say something about the position you're seeking. I've often thought that our congressman is more important to us than our president or even our U.S. senator, and here's why I say that. Because our congressman is truly the government. The president represents a position that presides over the two bodies of government called the House and the Senate, the Congress. But it is you guys in Congress that are truly representing us here. So the district number 2, if you live in district number 2, there's only one person who's going to talk on your behalf, and that's the congressman. That's why your position is so important.
Well, I totally agree. I don't know if you, I wanted to say a word or two about the terrorist attack in Orlando. And From my perspective, I just have a deep burden for the families and the survivors, and we need to be praying for them. I also have a sense of, I think, righteous indignation in many ways over the failure of our leaders to have taken action and to have done so forcefully when they first started beheading Americans and other opponents, when they were burying children alive, and when they were burning people alive.
Yep.
I really think that was the time Americans would have answered the call to have, and despite our weariness about foreign wars and so forth, this is the face of evil that needed to be, in my view, I feel that it needed to be addressed then to have done something about it. And now I have been saying they're at our doorstep, but sadly they're now in our living room. And I think Jeff Sessions was right when he said yesterday this will likely not be the last. And I really feel strongly that we need resolve, commitment, and we need people who have had a record of fighting evil to stand up and stand firm.
Yeah, and
I feel that way. Yeah.
Having read your background, I get the feeling that you truly are a person who gets what the Constitution guarantees all of us. And
absolutely.
And if that means the right to bear arms, and you have people saying this guy wouldn't have killed anybody if he didn't have a weapon, is like saying the only thing people kill each other with is guns.
No, it's just totally off the point. And what it does is it turns our attention away from the real source of this evil, and it is an ideology. And but I did want to mention, Larry, that this is somewhat of a big day for my race to some extent, because Alabama Senator Jeff Sessions this morning endorsed me for the race for Congress here in our district, and I think I like to think he did that because he saw that I have been fighting Obamacare, Planned Parenthood, terrorism, immigration. I enforced the immigration laws forcefully when I was U.S. attorney. I'm very honored to have that endorsement. I think he's
that is a good one.
Yeah, he's a good man, and he doesn't typically intervene, in congressional races like this. I just appreciate that so much. But he spoke yesterday. You were talking about the Second Amendment. He was on Fox talking about the sort of misguided reactions that people have. And there's something that our founding father said. He said that a free and independent people ought not only to have sufficient, not only to be armed, but they ought to have sufficient arms and ammunition to defend that independence against any who would threaten it, including their own government. And I feel like that's the reason.
That's exactly the reason.
Those people put that in our Constitution, and it's one thing to think in theory. Golly, lots of people may not think, maybe that would fair. But when you stop and consider what it would be like if we were, one of the first things an oppressive government will do is remove those weapons from people. If you stop to think about what it would be like, fast forward and say, you cannot get a weapon.
Well,
you cannot defend yourself. Yeah. If it ever reached that point.
Yeah. Well, somebody posted on Facebook. I wonder why the shooter on Sunday morning went to a gay bar where nobody is carrying a weapon. How come they didn't go to a country bar where probably everybody's got a gun?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I guess it's no surprise that many of these outrageous mass shootings occur in places where guns are not otherwise allowed.
Yeah.
So
the guys in Boston. Look at the guys in Boston with the Boston Marathon. They were runners. There was nobody there ready to defend themselves.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. But I think now this leadership, both Republicans and Democrats alike. I'm just sick of people running as conservatives and then governing as moderates or liberals. That's not always the case, but it's most often the case.
Yeah.
Let me give you one quick example. I testified 5 weeks ago before Congress as a former U.S. attorney. I got a call out of the blue, and they asked if I would come up and testify as to an opine under oath as to whether there was sufficient evidence to justify an investigation of Planned Parenthood for selling fetal body parts for profit. That's what the crime is.
Mm-hmm.
I went there to testify, and no one was focusing on the fact that, the Constitution, I specified this fact that Article 2, Section 3 of the U.S. Constitution requires the President to faithfully enforce the laws passed by Congress. And unfortunately, this President, he chooses a selective prosecutive method. I think, sadly, I think he's a part of his agenda is to move us closer to the European socialist system. And I think what he has done on the criminal justice side, but it's in many areas, but I see that and maybe have a little better perspective of it, having spent 13 years as a federal prosecutor. He has basically directed his Justice Department not to prosecute certain offenses that are offenses, and particularly in the immigration area. And I was looking real quickly when I was looking at some of the statistics that came out of Jeff Sessions' subcommittee on immigration and the national interest. And it turns out that Obama has radically increased the number of green cards to Muslim nation residents. And in the last 5 years, they have admitted 680,000 residents from Muslim nations. And they're on track to introduce another 680,000. Now, I think it's not extreme. It's just having common sense to but we're also cowered by this political correctness that everyone's afraid to say what I think most people feel, which is wait a minute, a country that doesn't enforce its borders and that doesn't enforce its immigration laws will soon be no country at all. And that's sort of, in my view, somewhat where we're heading.
Ken, thank you for being on the air with us today, and good luck with your campaign. Let me give the listeners something so they can find you online or learn more about you.
Thank you.
Ken Sukhia spells his last name Sukhia. Ken, do you have a website set up?
Yes, sir, I do. It's called fightwithken.com.
Okay. Fightwithken.com. All right.
Yes, and it's also on Facebook. There's an ad that's running throughout the district that you can see on Ken Sukhia for Congress on Facebook as well. But Larry, I thank you so much. I want to say I know I sort of dominated the conversation. I just it's an opportunity for me to sort of share with your listeners who I am and where my heart is, and so I greatly appreciate your kindness and graciousness there.
Thank you for that, and you're welcome as well. Hey, my job is to make sure, especially with candidates, that I don't tell them about you, but you tell them about you because you know you better than I do. So that's why, of course, whenever I have a candidate on it, I like to have it kind of dominated, as you put it, by the candidate. Ken, it's an honor to have you on the show. Thank you for being on. Good luck with the campaign, and definitely don't forget us when you whatever you're going to do to.
No, absolutely not.
To keep promoting it.
I pledge not to. Yes,
all right.
That's right.
All right.
Okay, thank you both very much.
Thank you. We will be right back.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident on this Monday. Intervals of clouds and sunshine with a shower or thunderstorm in spots this afternoon and this evening. Today's high 90 to 94 and partly cloudy and warm later tonight, low 73 to 77. For Tuesday and Wednesday, partly sunny with a shower and thunderstorm in the area each afternoon. The high tomorrow, 90 to 94. Wednesday's high, 89 to 93. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
Hi, this is Brad. I want